my friends, my name is Jo and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a video that makes me feel like a complete and utter hypocrite, but if I can't help myself, then hopefully I can help some of you guys get out of a reading slump, because I am currently in one. The past couple of weeks has been a little bit sketchy. We've all had those times where we just feel like, I could pick up a book right now, but I'd rather be doing literally anything else. And, as readers, this can sometimes feel a little bit discouraging because we have so many books and so little time to read said books. And the TBR is always growing. There's always a new, exciting, shiny, fresh book coming out today, tomorrow, next week. So if we're not reading, it can be a little bit discouraging. And especially being a part of the book community, whether you are or not, it can feel doubly discouraging because I have to make content. I don't have to make content. I enjoy making content, but I don't have anything to make content about because I'm not reading anything. It's a struggle, and for the past couple of weeks, I have been questioning whether or not reading was a phase, and I know it's not. Literally, I've been reading my entire life. It's not a phase, Mom, but I have felt like it could have been in the past couple of weeks because the slump has been just that bad. So without further ado, I have 5 books here that have gotten me out of a slump in the past. Now, if you haven't read any of these 5 books and you are currently in a slump, I encourage you to give them at least a rip, rare, and go. A rip, rare, and go. But if you have read all of these books and you are in a slump right now, I'm sorry, I cannot be of service to you today. So the first slump buster that I have to talk about today is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Now, I am specifically talking about the original trilogy, Red Rising, Golden Sun, and Morning Star. The later books get a little bit on the darker side, and I think they can be a little bit heavy. Normally when I'm in a slump, I steer clear of the heavy stuff. So the first 3, they're not as heavy, but they are action-packed and fun and fantastic. I think the easiest way to explain Red Rising is to explain the world first. So in this world, humanity is out in space. Like, we have conquered the stratosphere, so to say. And the human beings that exist in this, outer space situation, they're separated by colors. We have gold on the top, they're pretty, they're powerful, they're fantastic. And then we have reds at the very bottom, who are pretty much glorified slaves. Now, in this book, we are following Darrow, who is a red, and he is tasked with infiltrating the golds after an event happens in his life. We are introduced to a fantastic cast of characters that brings so much energy and fun to the page. There are various dark themes that are explored throughout the course of this trilogy, but there is a beautiful balance between hope and light and humor and those darker things that are going on. And I feel like that balance makes for a just fantastic, fun, can't put this book down type of read. And the books themselves aren't very long either, so you can pretty much just fly through this trilogy. If you haven't read the Red Rising trilogy, what are you doing? If you haven't at least tried it. I mean, like, if you didn't like it, if you tried it and you didn't like it, that's fine, but if you haven't even tried it, get with the program, girly. Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. This is a series that I got into this year. This is a lit RPG progression fantasy story about this guy named Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, as they are thrust into this kind of reality TV show intergalactic dungeon in which they have to fight these monsters to survive. And so Carl and Princess Donut are having to fight to the death while also trying to entertain the masses that are, intergalactic masses, because it's literally an alien reality TV show. And also try to stick it to the man. Carl and Donut are still trying to stick it to the man because they don't like the fact that they've been forced into this diggity dungeon. There's a lot of gore and crude humor in this series, and I myself find that fan-frickin-tastic because I have the humor of a 12-year-old boy, and I am not ashamed to admit that. Now, if you are more sophisticated in your tastes, this may not be for you, but if you as well want a fun time with a bunch of gore and crude humor and a talking cat that wears a tiara and foot fetish jokes. There's foot fetish jokes in there as well, but you should definitely check this series out. It was one of those ones that hit me by surprise. The audiobooks are fantastic, probably the best audiobooks that I have ever listened to, including graphic audio. The guy who does the narration for this, the name is slipping my mind right now, but he does a fantastic job. Number 3 is one that I am not technically finished with yet, but I am currently using this as my slump buster, and it is working, and that is The Wandering Inn by Pirate Abba. Now, I heard about this series released this massive series from Matt's Fantasy Book Reviews' channel, as well as Andrew's Wizardly Reads' channel. I'll have both of their channels linked down below, but this is, from what I understand, it was originally a serialized web novel, and Pirate Abba is currently going through and re-editing these and releasing them in Kindle versions as well as audiobook versions. I myself am listening to the audiobook version. The audiobook narrator is fantastic. So this is another progression style fantasy. The leveling and the skills and things like that are a lot more prevalent in Dungeon Crawler Carl than they are in The Wandering Inn. The Wandering Inn being like over 30 hours into this first book, it's like a cozy fantasy but with a kick. We have that classic cozy fantasy style, but with the darkness kicked up a notch sometimes and the action scenes kicked up a notch, as well as the general danger that Aaron Solstice, our main character, is facing throughout this world. So what this is about, bare bones, like where are we going with this, Jordan? So Aaron Solstice is our main character, and she finds herself thrust into a Dungeons and Dragons-esque type world, just like out of the blue. And she, confronts some monsters upon her arrival into this world. She runs away and finds herself at this abandoned inn outside of the city of Lascore. And she decides to fix this inn up. Now, I do have to say that the beginning of this audiobook was a little bit rough for me. Erin was kind of coming across as the classic, overly dramatic anime heroine. But past chapter 8, I quickly became super attached to Erin to the point where if anybody comes after Erin, I want to hop in the page and actually kick some booty. So I absolutely love her as a character. She's so empathetic. There are also various different races and species that are, surrounding her in this area, and they all, have their own quirks and their own personalities and their own biases towards other races, and she is she's just the one that brings them all together. She's the glue. She's the glue, my friends. And like I said, this is a cozy fantasy with a kick, okay? There are some darker scenes that happen, but the majority of the narrative is really slice of life, day to day, following Erin as she's trying to figure out a way to survive and be happy and, earn some freaking money in this world that she has just been thrust into. And of course, there's some other things going on in the background. I have loved every step of the way with these characters, and I cannot emphasize this enough. If you have not read The Wandering Inn and you're wanting something with that cozy, comfortable feel, but not Legends and Lattes, just freaking read The Wandering Inn, people. Please read it. The next slump buster that we have is Godkiller by Hannah Kaner. This book is set in a world where there were a bunch of different gods at one point, and at this point in time, the gods have been outlawed, I guess, and these people called God Killers have started to rise to power. They go out and they hunt down the remaining gods for gold. And so we're following one of these God Killers as she comes across a god that she can't kill, a god who is somehow attached to a little girl. And of course, they have to go on this adventure to figure out a way to separate the little girl and her little god. I loved the first 2 books in this series. The world is so charming, the characters are just so vibrant and rich, and you just want to keep learning more about them. I love the banter in this as well, but just learning about the gods and seeing the desolation of the life that they once led at the top. If you're in a slump, I think that these would be perfect. They're short, they're sweet, they're charming, they're rich, they're a lot of fun. And the last book that I have to beat your slump, this is my last chance, okay? This is my last shot. If you have tried every single one of these books and it has not worked, I am so sorry. This is my last chance, okay? Give me one more shot. Give me one more shot. We have Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. This is a thriller book, okay? Now, this is a very short novella-length thriller. I even got my mother to read this, and she hasn't read a book and finished it since the Stone Age, and she said she liked it, okay? That is a win. If you are a fan of thrillers or horror movies, you have probably seen something like this done before. However, if you have ever watched a thriller or a horror movie and you thought, that was good, but it would, kick it up a notch, it would take it to the next level if we added some lesbians and some cottagecore vibes. This is the book for you, okay? I'm not gonna say a ton about this book because it is so short, and I definitely think that you should go into it blind. Our main character named Rosemary meets this woman named Ash at a farmer's market, and she becomes infatuated with her. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. It's really, really good. It's one of those books where everything seems so right and so good until it doesn't, and then it really doesn't, and then, oh my god, what did I just read? That's the vibes. That's the vibes. books. Those are 5 of my recommendations to get you out of this slump. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to join the Not So Average Joe army. We are currently playing a childhood favorite game instead of reading. My TBR pile is quaking, but it's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you next time.